Today on All-Star Fandom, I'm joined by VFX and stop-motion animator Arfaan Amini. We'll dive into his journey on how he became a VFX artist and animator and how his WWE fandom became his inspiration to create battle stories, incredibly intricate and incredibly awesome stop-motion animations through the use of Mattel's WWE Action Figures. So, like an elbow drop off the top rope, All-Star Fandom starts now. Thanks for joining us today on All-Star Fandom. We really appreciate it. Came across your account, Battle Stories, about a year ago, and completely blown away because it was everything that it was like three things that I actually just love to look at and search for: VFX, stop motion, and then WWE along with action figures. So a lot for. So this every day, you just want to sort of get to know like how you got started with everything, and then sort of what you got coming up in the future too. So let's just talk about that journey. So like, what inspired you to become a VFX and stop motion animator? Like, where did that story begin for you?
And it's not as simple as I just woke up one day and I thought, oh, I'm going to be a VFX artist or a stop motion animator. It was just it's like a journey, and as things come along, things change, chop, kind of digress, and you go off. I think it started initially when it was just like, well, 2017, 2018, I felt a bit uninspired in life. I felt a bit, something was lacking. I think a bit of a low in life at that time. And just wasn't fulfilled. I thought there's more to life than just paying bills, working a 9 to 5. And you just like, I can't be doing this till the rest of my life, man. This is going to be a really long life.
Yeah, I know, right?
So it came to my 27th, 28th birthday. It was at the beginning of the year. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's happening in life. And I went for a walk. I went to local toy stores, Smith's toy stores in England. It's quite big here. And I thought, you know what? Toys is a good place. It used to always take me back to a good place in my childhood.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Collecting action figures and things like that. So I'm like, yeah, man, let's just go. Let's see what's happening in the toy world. I haven't looked into this since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I've grown up now. So go in, and then I see this whole section of Batman, Marvel stuff, and it's like, and I see WWE, and I'm like, brilliant, WWE action figures. Let me see how these look like. The only memory I had was the Hasbro ones.
Yeah.
Cinch action figures and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, these have really come a long way.
Yes.
Like they've got these articulations, and they've got these, details and tattoos and facial expressions. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm going to buy it. Forget it. I don't care. I'm going to buy it. 27, 28. And again, I don't know anything about the internet community, action figures collectors. I'm just a person. But so my background is finance. I've done banking and finance. So I've had a career in that. So that's all I've known. I'm just I'm an adult now. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Come home. And I sit on this very sofa, in fact. And I looked at, it was Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, which figures? Yeah.
It was Ultimate Warrior, and it was Undertaker. So I'm like, mate, this is straight back to my childhood. Absolutely loved them. And I'm like opening them up, and you've got these knees are moving, the elbows are moving.
Everything moves, yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is the best. So I'm like, geez, like, I'm not going to sit on the floor and start getting the wrestling ring out and start playing with them. I was tempted, but couldn't really do that. So I'm like, okay, let me leave it aside. I'm just going to leave it on the shelf. It's a display piece now.
Yeah.
Something to look at. It'll be nice. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go. I think in the evening later on, I went on YouTube, and I thought, let me see action figures. Let me see what people are doing. So people doing some incredible stuff like toy animators, people reviewing toys, stuff of that nature, making all this amazing content. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And that's the first time I stumbled across stop motion. So I'm seeing, again, I'm like, I don't know how these figures are moving. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I was just like, wow, this is actually really interesting. I think I want to give this a try.
So Arfaan, to cut you off real quick, but you had never done stop motion up until like that point?
Never, never,
Never. Oh, wow. Okay.
never. I've got a degree in finance and
Yeah.
in economics and masters in economics, so I'm pure adult. I'm pure adult.
Yeah.
From where I am, where I'm from, my city, local, it's not something that we know you can make a career from this type of work. It's not
Yeah.
something where, a reality here. You have to grow up and get a real job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Been there.
So, and I'm like, so like, I just thought, okay, let me just try this. There's people in stop motion. Let me YouTube, Google, how does stop motion work? How does it happen? And that's where the whole journey started. I opened up a laptop. I didn't look at a laptop in like years. I'm looking it up, getting a camera,
Yeah.
all the most tedious and basic of functions, like what type of connector goes into the computer and the camera, all of these things.
Hmm.
And then that's where it started from.
Wow. Like the fact that you had like, you're like, I'm finance, I'm an adult. And then I was like, well, let me look into the stop motion thing. So we're gonna jump back to that. We're gonna get back to that, but I have to ask you, when you went to that toy section, obviously you talked about the Hasbro toys. You had to have been a WWE fan growing up, right? So, and it's a show about fandoms. So I always like to ask too, do you like to remember that first moment of like when you saw WWE, WWF maybe even that time where you're like, yeah, this is I'm gonna like this. Like, what was that moment? Do you remember it by any chance?
I think one distinct memory that comes from my childhood
Hmm.
is Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect, SummerSlam '91,
Got.
I believe.
Oh my, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's I'm 88. I'm born in 88, so
87, man.
the generation. So I remember distinctly Bret Hart, MSG, camera flashes,
Yeah.
pink sunglasses, and that music, Heart Foundation
Oh,
music.
good.
Instantly a fan. Caught an arm just like glued in my mouth, my jaw dropped to the ground. I'm like watching Mr. Perfect. It was just this whole aura. And
Hmm.
that really did inspire me. That moment itself inspired me so much that I put camera flashes in all my animations.
I
Even in this era of digital cameras, I've still
You're
got camera
right.
flashes.
You're right. You're right because and I'll drop it here in the video, but the one that really made me reach out again because I've been following you for a year, and the one that made me reach out, I'm a big Rock fan. Like that was my guy from day one. I was the only one cheering him when he was Rocky Maivia. Like that's my guy. And the fact that you did the people's elbow, and it was just in my mind, the camera flashes back in the day, like those images like that, and just a great people's elbow too. It was so good, Arfan, so good. What was that inspiration to start battle stories?
I used to think I had an imagination.
Yeah,
We all had an imagination
we
as a
did.
kid.
Yeah.
We all daydreamed in that class that we were falling asleep in. And I was like, right, so I want to tell stories. I don't know why. I just want, and I particularly with the Undertaker character, all-time favorite.
The greatest story ever told, honestly. The greatest character story ever, I feel
The
like.
the mystique, the aura, that
Hmm.
dark silhouette walking down the aisle. Particularly your old school time when there was no fancy lights and stuff, just a simple spotlight dropped onto him. I was a massive fan. So I'm like, right, I want to tell stories.
Hmm.
I've been inspired by other YouTube animators, and I thought this is brilliant. But I've got my own vision,
Yeah.
and I've got my own spin. I feel for the vision that I want to have in my imagination. I want to kind of bring that to reality. So I
Hmm.
was like, this is going to be really fun. So the very first animation I did
Yeah.
was Sting versus The Undertaker in the cemetery. Why the cemetery? I have no idea why, but it's a cemetery.
It fits though, right? It fits honestly both characters. And Undertaker's last like match was almost like a cemetery adjacent, right? So it's
Yeah,
like, and it was the match that we never got to. So a lot of new stories, right?
absolutely. So my my motivation was I want to I want to see if I can make something out of this.
Hmm.
Um, Still, YouTube was still doing decent for content creators, and I thought, let me see if I can change my career from there and see if
Yeah.
I can make some videos. So that's where the name Battle Stories came from. I thought, let me make videos of wrestling matches, battles, and trying to make stories, not just about the fight, but the build up to the fight.
Hmm.
So that first video would have been like a part of the story in the graveyard, which would have built up to a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But it took so long, I just thought, let me do this one video and I'll just carry on. I get
So that gets me into my next question. Like, sort of describe that sort of setup for shooting your for animating and all that stuff. Like, how does that? Because I've seen some behind the scenes pictures of the stands that you have them on and stuff like that. So could you just describe, like, is there special equipment that you have to get? Like, what was that process like?
um, at that time, it was just very, you know, basic equipment like camera,
Hmm.
a laptop, a few like desktop lamps. And then I just kind of got some stuff like light filters, gel filters for
Yeah.
blue color to make it look like um, a night scene.
Hmm.
Polystyrene foam boards, cut them out into gravestones. So fun, though. I had such great fun. That
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. I had such a great time, and I was just having fun. I think the key for me was something excited me after such a long time.
Hmm.
And I was like, this is different. I'm enjoying it. So I was enjoying the whole. The key for me was I was enjoying the whole process.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So with that process, how long would, like, for example, the rocks people's elbow?
Yeah,
How long did that take you?
the rocks people. That took me a couple of days. Uh,
Okay.
that, that's like for the animation itself, then compositing, editing the frames,
Hmm.
putting it together with matching the background and CG. Um, because at the same time, I'm learning. Till this day, when I'm doing passion projects, what inspires me is I incorporate something new into my
Hmm.
work. And that's a philosophy I've carried with me since day one. It's like every time I do a piece of project, I'll be like, right, what new technology or new way of animation can I incorporate in my next work? Because I want to get excited. I don't want to, I get bored by doing the same thing again and again.
Hmm.
So my work might look the same, but I've consciously made an effort to bring some new improvements, get new lighting, things
Yeah.
like
You're using WWE figures. How did you link up or with Mattel to someone? I saw on your profile it was a Mattel influencer as well. So how did that partnership come together with WWE and Mattel?
it was again, it's a journey. When I started animating and I was inspired to change my career, I
Hmm.
didn't see how that change of career would look like. But I just continued going on to this journey. YouTube wasn't going to work because it took such a long time to create a piece of content.
Hmm.
It just wouldn't have been feasible to build up a following and get viewership and stuff like that. So I just continued. I thought, let me continue learning the craft. I've got a lot
Hmm.
of dues to pay. I've got a lot of things I need to learn. I knew my work was quite weak at the time, but I was really like, I had high aspirations and I
Yeah.
had a great vision for my own work. At that time, it was about 2017, 2018. There was Boom Comics. WWE
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah.
So that look really inspired me a lot. That, you know, that particular look. And I was like, right, though my work's not there yet, I need to improve my work a lot more. So I thought, let me just make content. I started
Hmm.
posting on Instagram, and little did I know, I came across the whole community of action figures collectors.
Yeah.
Such a cool bunch of people. Um, and at the same time, there was people from Mattel sat there.
Hmm.
So I was like, there was people following me, and they started looking at my work, and then I was seeing these people, and sometimes I knew that they were part of Mattel, and sometimes I happened to find out afterwards.
Yeah.
I think word started circulating in their offices then.
And what was the first project that you did for them? If you remember.
It was 2019. It was Masters of the Universe. I think it was the first action figure that they had with the articulations and stuff. So
Gotcha.
Comic Con.
That was sort of like the He-Man WWE crossover, right? Where John Cena had the um
No, it was actually before that. It was
oh
actually
really?
yeah, yeah. So it was when they just started getting the He-Man action figures. That so the brilliant thing is they caught me because of the WWE action figures. And I said, yeah, yeah, I do all this WWE stuff. They said, brilliant, we're gonna have you on Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
As a first project, I was like, okay, let's do it.
But then later, did you also do the crossover for WWE? And I messaged you this when I reached out. I was like, the reason like it took me back to being a kid when you would see those commercials of your toys moving, but then that disclaimer on the back end says like, toys do not move by themselves or something like that. Whatever. Just seeing all your stuff just took me back to a time where like, man, like Saturday mornings were cartoons and toys. Like it was great. It's just what a time to be alive. So you talked about the action figure community, right? How have you sort of and with WWE too? So how have you engaged with that WWE fan community? Like what's been their reaction to your videos and just what interactions have you had like regarding your animations?
It's been overwhelmingly positive. Amount of love that all the people have shown me. It's absolutely incredible. Like I've not had many negative comments, though I'm
Yeah.
open to constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I welcome it, but it's been absolutely incredible. Like when I started my page, I used to be cheeky. I used to message like the bigger influencers. I'd be like, listen, can you repost or put my work on your story? And it helps
Yeah.
the cause, get my name out and things like that. And they were always more than welcome to help me out.
Good. Okay.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that to this day as well.
So seeing how you did, I keep going back to like finance and then you go in this other, you pivot essentially. Like
Yeah.
for people watching this video and you love your fandoms and things like that, uh, what would what would your sort of like words of inspiration sort of be for a person like, okay, who wants to get in this avenue of like VFX and stop motion animation, or just in general of like, okay, this is where we're going, but I'm going to pivot this way and do something different.
I think we live in an incredible day and age right now with social media. Um, I always say this to everybody: make something, create something that's your own vision, and post it. You never know who's going to be watching.
Arfaan, I really appreciate you jumping on and telling your story of how you went from, working in finance to being a VFX animator and stop motion animator. It's an amazing journey. Just want to say thank you for just hopping on. I know you don't really do this, and I so appreciate that a lot. But before we close out, sort of tell everybody, where to find you. If you have anything stuff like website or anything like that, just let them know, and I'll make sure to drop it all in the description too.
Yeah, it's my main social media tag would be Instagram at Battle Stories. Well, battle_stories. Got a page on YouTube. Not as active. TikTok. I've got a website, battlestories.co.uk. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Man, but Arfaan, I really appreciate it. Thanks again. Man, any closing things that you want to say? Anything else on the
Nah,
table? That
I
we
no, I'm looking forward to Rumble. I'm looking forward to Mania season. I'm excited about this following year. I've got so many exciting things I'm going to be working on. So I appreciate everyone who supported me along the way. So thank you, everyone.
Well, we'll definitely be following Arfaan, and that's been another episode of All Star Fandom. Be sure to do all the social media stuff, just like Arfaan said, for every account, for Battle Stories, for All Star Fandom. Like, share, subscribe, do all of it. Arfaan, couldn't thank you enough again. Thanks for joining. This has been another episode of All Star Fandom. Peace.